to get your fix.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Thursday, January 20th, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Facebook, hit that like, share it out, show the world what we got going on in this particular area of, some broadcasting, right? So, yesterday was a fun time, right? I mean, we got, Nash was in here. I mean, he was just barking away, talking shit basically to me. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. So, hopefully, that doesn't happen, okay? Me and him had a long discussion. Not really long. And just kind of looked at him and said, what the fuck, dude? I mean, come on. Can we just, for 2 seconds or for 20, 30 minutes, just zip it? But, hopefully he's doing good. He was laying right here when I walked in. That's kind of why I looked down and I was like, oh, okay. You want to be a part of the show today? Let's see if he speaks up. Probably won't. I hope not. Threw me off my groove there a little bit. But it was a good segment. It was a funny segment. I liked it a lot. But we dove into the NFC side of things yesterday for the divisional round. The Green Bay Packers taking on the 49ers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Los Angeles Rams. That was a lengthy little segment there that we had going, and I feel like we dove into it pretty solid, okay? Today, we're going to dive into the AFC side of things where the Titans are taking on the Bengals. All right, that's what it is all about today because there's not shit happening. Obviously, we talked about that yesterday with the playoffs happening. Everything's kind of focused on, 8 teams or teams that are not in the playoffs that are just, doing all these head coaching vacancies and searching for their new head coach, their new GM and stuff. So we might dive into a little bit of that as well today. So it's going to be a good one. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. Might be a little brief, but who knows? Who cares? Let's get to it, huh? Are you ready to get your fix? Well, we all know that a lot of teams are out of the playoffs, okay? Specifically, 24 teams out of 32 are not in the playoffs. A fourth of the league is looking for a new head coach. A couple of them are also looking for a new GM as well. So one team I decided we're going to dive into is the Minnesota Vikings. And kind of give you my 2 cents on what I feel like should happen, what I feel like what I would most like to happen for our organization going forward in the near future. Obviously, there's a couple things that are going to change and going to be drastically different next year. A lot of teams are going to be drastically different. A lot of quarterbacks are going to be on the move. Sam Darnold probably out of Carolina. Who knows about that whole situation? Deshaun Watson, his whole civil case or civil lawsuit, whatever the fuck it's called, that hasn't really been sorted out. Don't know if that's going to get sorted out anytime soon. Could be a while. Who knows what that whole situation really entails? I have no fucking clue because we haven't really heard about it, which I'm glad, okay? But at the same time, let's figure out what the actual fuck happened because either A, he's a good dude, or B, he's just a scumbag, and I would really like to know, okay, because that is, obviously he led a franchise for however many years long and was the face of their franchise and stuff like that, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him this offseason. Could be on the move, could go to Miami, could go to Carolina. There's multiple different places that he could end up on, but the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, we fired head coach Mike Zimmer. We fired GM Rick Spielman. Thank fucking God. Okay, I wanted Spielman out for the last, I don't know how many years, at least 3 years for sure. I did not. I just thought he had more misses than he did hits, and I was like, okay, this guy not the greatest GM in the world. He's pretty good. He's a solid GM. He's going to get your team built in the right direction so that you have the potential to potentially get to a Super Bowl and stuff like that. He does all that. He's pretty solid for the most part. But I think as Minnesota Vikings fans and at myself and everybody around there, I think we all kind of came to the conclusion that look, it's time to move on. It's time to kind of get past that and have a new atmosphere, a new look on the organization. Let's see what else we can do if we can make this thing better. Or in all honesty, this thing could fucking be an absolute train wreck. We're up here. We know we're a playoff caliber team at this point. We just got to figure out how the fuck to get back to that spot. But all of a sudden, it could just come crashing down, and we could be, the Jacksonville fucking Jaguars, for instance. First round pick or first overall pick in the draft year after year. That could happen. I hope that doesn't happen because, listen, Minnesota Vikings historically, from what I've kind of noticed and what I've seen, they've always kind of been right up there with the pack, right? They've always kind of been, this team has the potential to make the playoffs, has the potential to go and play for a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl and stuff like that. They choke, okay? They can't perform in, the biggest of stages, okay? They just, for some odd reason, all Minnesota teams, okay? The fucking Twins, the Wild, the Wolves, okay, they're garbage. The Lynx seem to be on that little path as we speak right now. A couple championships in a row, and all of a sudden, they're not that great. And that's women's basketball. I don't really watch too much of it. I'm sure a lot of you guys probably don't watch it either, but I think we should also give them some support and stuff like that and kind of dive into their world of basketball because, there are some studs over there, Candace Parker and stuff like that. But this whole train for the Minnesota Vikings looks good. But we all know with somebody new in power, with somebody new in charge, this thing could all of a sudden come crashing down. And it's happened before, not specifically with the Vikings, but with a lot of other franchises around the NFL. But today the NFL, or not the NFL, I guess, Ian Rappaport, Adam Schefter, all the big-time NFL insiders reported that the Minnesota Vikings have completed all 8 of their GM or general manager interviews. So only 8 candidates are up and running for the Minnesota Vikings general manager job. That's pretty big. That's huge for us to kind of get that whole part out of the way because in my opinion, I think it's a really good thing if you get the GM spot figured out before you get the head coach or the head coaching spot figured out. Because, for instance, like in Miami, Brian Flores, the head coach of the Miami Dolphins at the time, all right, and their general manager, his name's just not popping in my head, but their general manager and the head coach just did not see eye to eye. A lot of arguing, a lot of, okay, I'm right, you're wrong, let's fucking fix this shit. Didn't work out. The owner decides to get rid of fucking Brian Flores. I don't think he's the issue because the GM, I think, has a lot to do with the draft picks, the salary caps, the trades and all that. I think the GM might have been the issue there, okay? But the Minnesota Vikings, all 8 interviews are said and done with. Now we can go ahead, figure out who the hell is going to be our GM candidate. Let's do this. A lot of second interviews are probably going to happen with these 8 candidates. Even though they said completed, I feel like you're definitely going to have a second with maybe 2 or 3 of those guys or girls to really see what or who is the best fit for the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm excited. I'm all for it. I'm really hoping that we do sign Catherine. I think she's the vice president of player operations over for the Philadelphia Eagles. If she does get hired, she would be the first woman general manager in NFL history. And I think for the Minnesota Vikings, that would just be awesome for us to have that. But not only that, I feel like, we need a change, right? The NFL needs to change. We need to start going into a different direction and stuff like that. But I really want to see what she would bring to the table for the Minnesota Vikings. Because from what it sounds like, a lot of people over in Philadelphia love her, love everything she's done for the organization. She's a really likable person and stuff like that. So it'd be really nice to see, if it's the right fit, obviously. Like, I'm not the owner. I don't know what the hell's going on, what conversations are being had, how well they were being had, and how well the interviews went. But for some odd reason, I just have this feeling like, let's give her a shot. Like, why not? 1 year wouldn't hurt. 2 years wouldn't hurt. Unless we, like I said, unless that fucking train starts coming down and starts hitting a brick wall and you got to fix that train again, it's going to take some time, then, okay, I understand. But going back to the reasoning, I just, if you get the GM spot figured out, that opens it up. I guess it makes it a little easier for you to go out and find your head coach. Because then you get a head coach that will potentially be on the same side as the GM. The GM has to, pick the head coach. Like, I want this guy to be the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings. I want this person, blah, 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 because they have that relationship, that chemistry. They think they're going to mold well together. They had, previous relationships potentially and stuff like that. So I think that's a really, really good scenario for the Minnesota Vikings. And it seems as if the Vikings are the first team to finally complete their general manager interviews, where the Bears, I don't know, man. The Bears said we're going to figure out our GM first and then our head coaching opportunities and our head coaching interviews and stuff like that. Well, they're kind of doing both at the same exact time. I don't necessarily think they're going to figure out the GM first. I think if they do figure it out, they're going to figure it out both of the head coaching vacancy and the general manager vacancy right away. But for the Minnesota Vikings, obviously we need a head coach, right? And there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of choices out there to be had. Like, a lot of people want Doug Peterson potentially to be the head coach, Byron Leftwich, Todd Bowles, Matt Eberflus of the Colts, Dan Quinn. I mean, the list literally goes on and on. Nathaniel Hackett for Green Bay and stuff like that. But I'm going to give you guys my opinion. I'm going to give you who I think would lead us in the right direction. Hopefully, like I said, I'm not a GM. I'm not an owner. I don't know shit about fuck, okay? I just don't know anything. I know some stuff, right? But in all honesty, the past couple years, and this could be because our head coach, Mike Zimmer at the time, is a defensive-minded head coach, right? Our defense has been just fine, okay? Now, I guess not just fine, but they've been okay. They've been headed in the right direction. I feel like we had a lot of young talent a year ago in the secondary, our defensive backs, our safeties and stuff like that. So it was kind of a rough patch right there. But this year, I feel like they stepped up in a big way. I think last night I counted 14 of our 17 games ended in a one-possession game. So like that, we're right there, folks. We're right there. And I think a lot of that has to do with the complacency and the stagnant offense that we have over here. Every single year, I think the last time I remember an explosive offense, an offense that was willing to take shots, an offense that was willing to do what it takes to put points on the board at a exceptional rate, was when we had Pat Shermer. We've seen what happened when he left. He went to the Giants. They stink. Okay, sucks that he had to go there. But then he goes. Can't remember where he's at right now. I think he's in Denver, and I think they had during their season, their offense started going up. They started performing really well and stuff like that. But for me, for the Minnesota Vikings, I just honestly feel like we need an offensive-minded head coach, because our defense is built there and it's safe. Okay, it's a good defense. We just got to add a few pieces. Some people might be on their way out, obviously in free agency coming up and stuff like that. But if we get an offensive-minded head coach, let's just go get one hell of a defensive coordinator, right, to fix all that. Mike Zimmer is a very, very good defensive coordinator when it comes down to only having to focus on the defensive side of things. But as a head coach, things get a little confusing, a little different. You're dealing with a little bit too much. You're not really an offensive-minded head coach. You really don't know what to do on that side of the thing, so you have to get an exceptional OC. Clint Kubiak, I mean, we all will score on the fucking first drive, but good luck the rest of the way, basically. And I think if you have an offensive-minded head coach, and now don't get me wrong, there's defensive-minded head coaches in the league. Bill Belichick's one of them. There's a lot of them out there, okay, that are all about defense. Brian Flores he's going to get a really, really good job. I would be okay with Brian Flores, even though he's defensive-minded head coach, just because of what he was able to do in Miami with the talent he had. I think Minnesota has way more talent than Miami does. Miami is young at this time, so who knows what the heck they're going to look like in the next 2 to 3 years. They could be fucking amazing. But we really don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, we can't go and we can't time travel and see what's going to happen. But getting an offensive-minded head coach in here, for instance, my number one pick, Byron Leftwich. Okay, he played quarterback in the NFL. He knows what it takes to lead an offense, lead a team, lead a locker room, and what he's been able to do with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, at times it really doesn't seem all of that, it just doesn't seem like they click all the time, obviously, right? There's some hits, there's some misses, but I think a lot of that has to do with, Tom coming in, bringing some new stuff to the offense, new wrinkles. You have to add a couple more pieces, and when Antonio Brown was in there, now Chris Godwin and Antonio Brown are gone. See you later. Their tight ends, Rob Gronkowski came in, he's new, so you got to figure out a bunch of new things, what works, what doesn't. And I mean, shit, you got the greatest of all time playing quarterback, so it can't be that tough. But at the same time, get us an offensive-minded head coach so that Kirk Cousins can perform in the clutch moments, so our team can perform in the clutch moments, and hopefully we can see a playoff berth, hopefully we can see a Super Bowl berth, potentially win that damn thing, because, we're all dreaming of a fucking championship over here in Minnesota, but if we get the offensive-minded head coach in there, I think we're going to be headed in the right direction, because we got young stars, we got awesome superstars, we got Dalvin Cook in the backfield, who is ridiculous, okay? Imagine if he would have never had that ACL injury against Detroit a couple years ago. I think he'd honestly be, he'd probably be a little bit better than what he is right now, but at the same time, I'm satisfied with where he's at. He is he's top 3 running back in the NFL easily, especially since he's been able to stay healthy, consistently putting up numbers. He has a couple bumps in the road, obviously, but I think everybody has, okay? And you got to be healthy at the right moments, but, Dalvin Cook on the running back spot, Justin Jefferson is a fucking animal. He is ridiculous, even though Jamar Chase did break his the NFL rookie receiving yard, regular season leader in NFL history and stuff like that. I get it. I don't care. Okay, a year ago, it was the Justin Jefferson show, and I still believe that it's the Justin Jefferson show in Minnesota. Adam Thielen still has a lot in the tank. I feel like he goes and gets the ball. He rarely drops it. He reminds me sort of a lot like Larry Fitzgerald, where if you put the ball in anywhere near him, he's going to try to come down with the ball, and more times than not, he's going to have that be the case. KJ Osborne, he's been flourishing really, really well. Kirk Cousins, obviously, he says he wants to be a Minnesota Viking for the rest of his career, so there's a lot of potential offensively, so that if we get an offensive-minded head coach, we can focus on the offense, focus on scoring points, and scoring a lot of points, making it easier for us to win ball games, where then we can just go out, hire a really solid defensive coordinator. Obviously, you don't know if they're going to be really solid, okay? Year by year, it does change. It gets different a little bit. But if you get a good defensive coordinator who focuses solely on the defense, where you don't have to worry about the head coach going, I don't know about that. You might not want to do that, but so you don't have to worry about that. And then your defense starts to flourish, and then your offense is already flourishing. Your defense is flourishing. The whole thing comes together, and it looks fantastic. Looks phenomenal. We have winning seasons. We possibly go to the playoffs, Super Bowl. You get it. So that's kind of my 2 cents on what I feel like the Minnesota Vikings should do. Go get an offensive-minded head coach. I really like Brian Flores. For the Miami Dolphins, or from the Miami Dolphins, he's defensive-minded, but I would really, really like Byron Leftwich because I just want an offensive guy. I want an offensive guru, get this offense headed in the right direction, because there's just way too much firepower that we haven't seen, I feel like. There's a lot of stuff that we could open up and really get going, because, when it's 3rd and 10 or fucking 2nd and 16, enough of these fucking wide receiver halfback screens. It ain't going to work. And if it does, it's probably 1 out of 100 times that it's going to work, okay? I'm sick of that nonsense. We don't need it. Just get it out of here, okay? I'm so sick of that. It's been the whole Minnesota Vikings history. I feel like that's what we do. We get down to those nitty-gritty situations. 3rd and 10. fuck it, run it right up the gut, right into Aaron Donald's nose. Like, no. Jeez Louise, you gotta fucking drop back for a... I mean, you just gave up after 2 downs. You basically said, all right, we're going to try. All right, that was incomplete. Second down, okay? Let's hand it off. We get 2 yards. All right, third down. Okay, let's see what we got to do. There really isn't much to do, Jim. I mean, we should just, run it up the gut. Good idea. Like it. Run it up the gut. All right, we get stopped. Let's punt the ball. I mean, it's like... I want a little bit more excitement. I want explosiveness. I want explosiveness like the fucking Bills, the fucking Kansas City Chiefs. Give me something like that. Give me some excitement here. I mean, we do have a lot of excitement, but I just feel like that might be the right direction for the Minnesota Vikings to go. But, like I said, I don't know shit about fuck, okay? I don't know nothing. It's just my brain kind of doing its thing and saying, yup, I like that. That seems like the right direction to go in. So I hope we figure it out. I know we're going to. Obviously, we're going to have a head coach going into next year and a GM. I mean, it's going to have to happen before the draft and in the coming weeks, in the coming months. It's going to have to happen. We will know in a short amount of time. But I'm glad they got the GM interviews over, done with. There's 8 of them up for the job. Now, they don't have to accept the job, right? Mark Wilf or Ziggy Wilf or whatever, the Wilf family is going to give the person or persons or people or whatever an opportunity to sign with us. Like, hey, we want you. Would you be our new GM? They could be like, look, Denver's giving me a way better option. Chicago's giving me a way better option. I think I'm going to take their job. And it's like, okay, good luck. We'll see you later. But we'll get it figured out. The Wilf family knows sort of what they're doing, I guess. Just need a fucking Lombardi and I'll be set. Then I can actually go to, the Hall of Fame Museum for the Minnesota Vikings. Because, Green Bay's was fucking... that was phenomenal. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to be headed back there probably with John, okay, or Y-4, Young Forever. Because, we got to see 4 Lombardis, all their championships. The shit was electrifying. But, like I said, Minnesota Vikings will get their shit figured out. And earlier in that conversation, I kind of mentioned the Carolina Panthers. I don't know if I brought this up a couple weeks ago or a week ago or something like that. But the Carolina Panthers are interested in looking or seeking a potential trade for Christian McCaffrey. Makes you think, what is going to happen? And I mentioned Deshaun Watson. What does his future look like? We don't know. But there's a potential possibility that, hey, what if the Carolina Panthers trade Christian McCaffrey to the Houston Texans and grab Deshaun Watson? It's a real possibility. You free up some cap space. Well, I don't know how much Deshaun Watson's over, but you free up a little cap space to get Deshaun Watson. You get your organization on the right path. You're looking really good. Chuba Hubbard looked awesome this year. You could find a running back easily. I think that's one of the most, or that's probably the easiest position to kind of replace and kind of find a guy, even though it is tough to be one of the great running backs in the league, a.k.a. Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if Christian McCaffrey is on his way out. He's been super injury prone, but the man is... he's a beast. Okay, he's jacked. He's ready to rock and roll any given Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. So we'll keep an eye on that little bit of news. Some other news. I guess the Texans requested to interview former quarterback in the NFL, Josh McCown, for their head coach job. So we'll see where that goes. I'm just not all in on the Texans because I think a while back, we talked about it. When is the last time you talked to somebody and like, yeah, I'm a Texans fan. I think this is our year. I think we're going to go out. We got Deshaun Watson, and David Johnson he's out there, and Brandon Cooks. I have never talked to a Houston Texans fan is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so I know they're out there. Not around here, most likely. Okay, they're probably down in the Houston area. They're probably one of those close-knit fan bases like the Eagles or something like. Well, the Eagles are kind of all around and stuff, but you get what I'm trying to say. So they did that. Dak Prescott got fined $25,000 because after their loss to the San Francisco 49ers, fans were throwing trash on the field at what it looked like to be directly at the players. DeMarcus Lawrence took his helmet, fucking shielded one of the beer can or whatever the fuck was thrown down from the stadium. And Dak had a press conference after the game and was like, we can't have that. The fans, look, we put all this hard work into this. We want to win just as badly as you want us to win stuff. You guys can't be throwing trash at us like that. We just can't have it. And then the one reporter's like, well, I mean, they were actually throwing it at the fucking refs. And Dak's like, oh, well, good for them then. Like, sweet. He apologized for those comments because, look, we just can't have trash being thrown on the field, okay? Bill Does is a different fucking... That's a different thing. All right, that is... What are you going to do about that? But trash, it's just like... That's just immature. I mean, why? Like, there's no better way to explain it than it's just immature, can't have it. You're a little kid when you do that. Grow the fuck up, basically, is how I look at it. And so, I understand why he was fined, obviously, but at the same time, heat of the moment, he's pissed. They just lost. Their playoff hopes or their Super Bowl hopes are completely demolished. The entertainment team is... See you fucking later. Movie over, basically. So he was pretty in the heat of the moment. He did apologize. They fined him because they don't want any of these incidents, or at least I assume this is why they fined him, is because they don't want any of this, incidences to happen again where you're intriguing fans or making fans wanting to throw trash at the refs. Because the NFL officiating has been abysmal. I mean, it has fucking been garbage. Okay, we understand that. I mean, the replay challenge was fucking challenged. Okay, can't have it, won't have it. We got to get to the bottom of it. I'm assuming they won't, but hopefully they will. They'll understand that, hey, a change needs to happen for this game to be a lot smoother. Not as many commercial breaks, even though that's where they make their money from all those commercials, all those people that are buying in. Say, hey, can I have a 30-second commercial here? Here's a fucking $1 million or $2 million. All right, sure, sounds good. We'll play that now. All right, Doritos commercial comes on and stuff like that. But we can't have it. All right, quit throwing trash on the field. It's a bad look on your city. It's a bad look on you personally. We get that the officials suck. Okay, go on Twitter and say that. Put a bunch of fucking at NFL officiating and then a bunch of trash cans, okay? You could do it that way. That's a little different than fucking taking a beer can and saying, hey, fuck you! Boom! You understand, okay? You've got a black guy, the ref's like, crying about it. You understand that whole situation. So he was fined $25,000 because of those comments. It's a lot. Freedom of speech, okay? $25,000 for... All right, good for them. We get it, but jeez. Couldn't have that just been like a $100 fine? Like, come here. Give me $100. Never do it again. We'll call it done. All right? I think there would be a lot more respect. But there's a lot of money in the NFL. Okay, so $25,000 to them is probably like $100 to us, or like $20 or $250 to us, something like that. So it is what it is. But I think it's a perfect time to kind of dive in to the AFC Divisional Round. And the matchups that we have set for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. It's going to be electrifying. I can't wait for it. The first game, we have the Titans against the Cincinnati Bengals, who got their first win in 31 season in the playoffs. Hey, good on them. That is fucking congratulations to Cincinnati in what they've been able to accomplish. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase have been ridiculous this year. Trey Hendrickson has come out and said, or not come out and said, he has been officially, I think, cleared to play this weekend. So it looks like he is all systems go. So that'll be really interesting. They're going to need him in a big way because the Tennessee Titans have Derrick Henry coming back, making his not really season debut, but the playoff debut finally, even though this is their first playoff game this year because they got the first round bye, home field advantage, and all that nonsense. But this is going to be a fun game. I think a lot of people are kind of overlooking the Titans and not really talking about them, like not really giving them enough hope because Cincinnati has such a great story. What they were able to accomplish, Joe Burrow getting hurt last year and then going out and performing, I mean, having dominant performance game in, game out. I mean, it was just ridiculous to watch. Jamar Chase is a rising superstar at such a young level, rookie level. It is so fun to watch what they are capable of doing. Joe Mixon's a fucking train as well. I mean, he can do it in the run game, in the pass game as well. This is going to be a fun game, but don't look past the Titans. The Titans are a very, very good team, led, by Mike Vrabel, former linebacker of the New England Patriots, multi-Super Bowl ring or Super Bowl trophy winner. Okay, he knows what it takes to win a championship, what it takes to get there, and all that. So it'll be a really fun game. Derrick Henry's obviously going to be back, like I mentioned. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are also going to be playing in this game, which is big news, because from what I have seen is that this is the first time since week 7. Yeah, okay, so Diana Rossini on Twitter. Okay, she tweeted that the last time Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones were on the field at the same time was back in week 7. We could be in store for some fucking fireworks, folks. This is going to be absolutely bonkers to watch. I think, with the Titans, getting healthy, getting back into the groove of things, their defense is playing phenomenal football. Offensively, with Derrick Henry, their superstar, King Henry, back, is a big piece to the puzzle that they've been missing almost, the entire season. I've seen a stat where when Derrick Henry was there before his injury, they had like 960 rushing yards. And then when it was Donta Freeman in there, they had like 500 or some rushing yards. So you can understand and just realize the difference that King Henry fucking makes. I mean, he was honestly in the top 5 for MVP voting or race or whatever you want to say. Like, he was up there with those guys. And if he has a full season, a full healthy season, man, it would have been amazing to see the type of numbers he put up, because last year he put up over 2,000 yards of scrimmage from scrimmage, and that is ridiculous in itself. So this is going to be an electrifying game. I hope this is going to be a close game, because last weekend did not feel like made it out here, and the Hogs got slaughtered. They're out of the playoffs now. It's something like that. Okay, I think we're set up for a pretty decent divisional round games or set of games, because these are the 8 dogs, the 8 horses that are ready to rock and roll and go out there and perform for 70,000 plus, 60,000 plus. So it's going to be electrifying. I'm really excited for the Bengals-Titans game. Hopefully you guys are as well. But I think the game of the weekend, the game of the divisional round, game of the week, like they always do in the NFL, even though there's two game of the weeks, that just blows my mind. I don't know why. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. But the game of the weekend, the game of the divisional round playoffs, Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Buffalo Bills. This is going to be electrifying, folks. I mean, it is going to be absolutely bonkers what we're going to be watching. I mean, this is going to be points after points after points after points. I mean, it's going to be fucking... It's going to be electrifying, to say the least. You're going to see the Chiefs score, then you're going to see the Bills score. I mean, it's going to be back and forth, high-scoring game. I'm talking probably 56, 60-plus points put up on the board. I mean, we could see a 42-35 finish, and that would be... 77 points. That'd be ridiculous, but we could definitely see it with just how good both of these offenses are and how well they have performed the entire season, and they're, in playoff mode. They're ready to rock and roll. Josh Allen, man, he's a monster. He's their leading rusher, it feels like. Or I think he actually is their leading rusher. Obviously leading passer, okay? But what he's capable of doing and just his frame, I think he's 6'4", 6'5", maybe a little taller than that. That may be a little too tall, but he's like 245. I believe he said that today via the Pat McAfee show. So he's ready to rock and roll, and that defense has no Pro Bowlers, and that might be a snub, because Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde have been absolutely ball hawks. Tremaine Edmonds and their linebackers have been really, really good. Sucks that Tre'Davious White is not along for the ride because he got hurt, season-ending injury. But the Chiefs' defense, we talked about it yesterday briefly. They weren't that great. Okay, beginning of the season, it was like, okay, I even said there's no way in hell they're going to make the playoffs. I mean, this team is not that good. But I should have ate my words there and realized that the Chiefs get good late. Okay, they get good. They get hot late in the season, and they're actually a very, very solid, powerful, electrifying team when it comes to October, November, December. They start racking up these wins, and they could be at the bottom of the division one week, and then all of a sudden, 3 weeks later, they're number one. It's like, oh, should have seen that coming. I mean, come on, it's Patrick fucking Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. You want me to keep going? I mean, they have the pieces over there. Andy fucking Reid's been in the NFL forever, okay? He knows what it takes to get there, and they've won one. They've been to back-to-back Super Bowls. Hopefully they can get back. Well, I mean, hopefully not, because I don't want to see them in there again, even though they probably deserve it. But I want the Buffalo Bills to go there. This game is going to be interesting, to say the least, because last week, the Bills' first 7 drives resulted in a touchdown. Ridiculous. And apparently, there was a really cool stat here. Did not realize this was an actual thing until I seen this. Let's go see if I can. It should be right here. Even though I say that, then all of a sudden it's like, well, what the fuck? You know, why isn't it loading? But it's right here. The Bills. Here, hold on. Let me click on it so it doesn't go away. So at Diana ESPN on Twitter, or Diana Rossini, she said the Bills have punted 0 times in 3 of their last 4 games. They are the first team since at least 1940, which is as far back as the Elias Sports Bureau can go here, I guess. So the Sports Bureau, that's like their, their record holders that like keep all the records, what's happened, what hasn't happened. But they punted 0 times in 3 of their last 4 games, and that's the first time since at least 1940 to go 3 games without a punt in a 4-game span, including playoffs. She gives credit to @Paul Hembo. So that is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, when the Bills are out there, their number one goal is to get to the end zone, which is what the Minnesota Vikings need to fucking figure out. That's why I want the offensive-minded head coach. But the Bills just want to score. They want to put points. They want to put pressure on you. They want to make the game hard on you. And after last year, after losing to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, watching them celebrate Stephon Diggs, we went through that whole spiel where he sat there and said, all right, not again. It ain't happening. No, fuck it. We're winning the next time this happens. That chip on their shoulder, I think, is going to give them the ultimate edge in this game. But it's going to be electrifying. It's going to be absolutely electrifying. It will suck for Bills Nation if they do lose. There's going to be a lot of questions to be had. What's going on with Sean McDermott? Who is our OC? Who is our DC? What positions do we need to change defensively, offensively? We got to figure something out. There's going to be a lot of that conversation to kind of be had there. Not as much as the Chiefs, right? If the Chiefs lose, it's kind of like, okay, listen, we went to back-to-back. We got pretty far. We had kind of a shitty type of year, not the greatest to start out. If we start out hotter, we'd probably, make it to the Super Bowl and probably win the Super Bowl, stuff like that. So let's just kind of take this season, put it behind us, and let's focus on the new season, the draft, and all that nonsense. So I'm all in for the Bills. I hope they get this done because I think that would be an electrifying AFC matchup for them because not to toot my own horn, but the 2 teams that I said beginning of the season, when the season didn't even start, right before week 1, I said my Super Bowl teams, my pick of 2 teams to be in the Super Bowl. All right here, folks, the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Those are my picks. That was my pick to be in the Super Bowl. I haven't picked a winner. I won't pick a winner until Super Bowl weekend is upon us. Like we always make our week picks. Okay, since week 6 we've made our picks throughout the entire season of the NFL, and that's when I'll make my final decision because then I will for sure know who's going to win the Super Bowl. However, I also thought about making my selection before the NFC Championship game gets over. So we have 4 teams next weekend. Obviously, after this weekend gets over and done with 4 of these teams getting tossed off the screen, probably not broken, hopefully not broken when I toss them. But maybe I'll make my decision there who my Super Bowl winner is out of those 4 teams because that's a 25% chance. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. But my pick so far was Tampa, Buffalo. I hope that happens. But I'm really strong on Green Bay, and I can't wait for the divisional round of playoffs this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be electrifying. I cannot wait. Hopefully you guys cannot wait. But that is all I have for you guys today. Go enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great one. We will see you guys back here on Facebook and YouTube. Hit that like and share on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. We'll be back here at 6 p.m. Central Time, like always, to discuss more football shit, okay? It's just football talk, dude. I mean, it's Friday football talk with me, potentially Y4, potentially Logan, but we'll see how all that works out. So until then, have a great one. We'll see you tomorrow, and you just got your fix with a Wicks. Have a great one, folks, and we'll see you tomorrow.